Hello. Hello, everyone. It's been a while, hasn't it? Hope you are all good. Very exciting show today, innovative and brand new, and something I've never ever done before. You can see some names here at the bottom because someone is going to be joining me very, very soon. Just a couple of things very quickly. This will be the very last time I mention the London Marathon. That's it. I'm not mentioning it again because I know I'm driving people potty. And please don't mention the fate of Tottenham, or I'm likely to start crying on camera. So, Ben, here we go. Ben is here. Good morning. Darren is here. Morning, Darren. How you doing? Without further ado, we always do an icebreaker, but I'm going to get some company for this one. We have Maria and Kathryn. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Morning.
Are we ready? You've had a sneak peek of this, so hopefully you've had some time. For everyone else watching, Jonathan as well. Good morning, Jonathan. Here we go. Let's go with this. This is only hypothetical. I haven't got a tattooist stood outside where you're at. In the next 30 minutes, you are getting a tattoo. What is it? Okay, I'm going to go Maria first. What are you getting?
Well, when I was 16, I, unbeknownst to my mum and dad, went and got a tattoo, which was a Chinese symbol for what I thought was the word for like peace. And I actually went to my local Chinese to ask them to write down the word for peace. And then I later found out it wasn't the word for peace. It was like number 27 on their Chinese list. So I probably would get an accompanying one just to sort of round it off. I'd get my Chinese order. Why not?
You'd get prawn crackers.
Yeah, exactly. Prawn crackers. Why not?
Oh, that is a cracker. Kathryn, come on. In the next 30 minutes, you're getting a tattoo. What is it?
Well, again, like Maria, you kind of live and learn. When I was 21 and I was backpacking around Australia and Indonesia, I got a bit merry on the rice wine, and I had a tattoo of what I believe still to this day is a gecko, but what other people tell me is a really ugly frog on my ankle. So maybe I'll get matching pair. But I certainly won't be getting Tottenham Hotspur, put it that way.
Well, I've got a few of them. I'm going to share my first terrible. Why are all of our first ones mistakes? So our football team, I was playing football in London at the time, and there was a road that had a load of pubs, and they were all kind of themed together. Like one was called the Grapes, and then the Barrel, and whatever. And you would go and do like a pub crawl, and at the end of all the pubs was a tattooist. So very dangerous. And I think I was just 18. I couldn't actually, this is how merry I was. I couldn't actually remember getting it done. And I got up in the morning, mum and dad were out in the garden, and I came down. I went to go get up, and my sheet sort of came with me. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I took it off, and it was I had a tattoo of a cartoon cross-eyed butterfly on my shoulder blade. And I came down and I was just like, I've got something to show you. And they weren't annoyed. They were both just like, you're an idiot. Jonathan is going, oh, LinkedIn user, you've got to let me know who you are. There's something in your settings that means I can't see who you are. So please do say hello. Jonathan says The Dark Tower, Stephen King book. Oh, very nice. No messing around there. Darren, Ben, anyone else watching that hasn't yet jumped in the comments, what are you saying? Please do keep going. Well, much as we'd like to, we're not here to talk all about tattoos. I haven't even done introductions. Maybe, Kathryn, you can kick us off with just an introduction for anyone that doesn't know you who's watching.
So I'm Kathryn Simons-Porter, obviously. So I'm the owner of Flourish Business Consulting, which is kind of growing legs since we launched it in January. So we launched Flourish Talent EQ, which is a fractional hire agency 3 weeks ago. It'll be 3 weeks old on Wednesday. but we also have Flourish AI, and I'm working very, very closely with Maria in Neo's Wave, and we're here to talk to you about REN. Maria.
Lovely. Yeah.
So hello everybody. I'm Maria McCann. Spent quite a few years now in and around customer service, and I run an agency called Neos Wave. And what we're focused on and have been for the last couple of years is how AI is impacting conversations with customers and what happens when customers start to bring their own AI to the party, and how we help companies and customers design for the best outcome.
I love it. We've been, it's been really, really lovely and interesting chatting to you both, and we're going to do something. You asked me before we went live, you asked me if I'd ever done anything like this on Get Out a Wrap, and we haven't. So we're going to be breaking new ground. It's an experiment. It's very exciting. For everyone watching, please do feel free to add your comments in. I will make sure that Kathryn and Maria get them. Let me just finish the tattoo ones first. Tracy's. Tracy, it's good to see you. Morning all. I'm getting a Prince symbol tattoo. I think I told you my Prince story, Tracy, didn't I, when I last saw you? If I haven't, remind me and I'll tell you about it another day. And Kerry Sudale is here. Morning, everyone. I have no idea. I don't have a tattoo. I would love one, but I'm too fussy, as everyone I know has regretted their first tattoo.
Yeah.
as we have just said, Kerry, though, well, how about your football team's going for the league title? What if you win the league title, you get something as a team? That would be good. Morris as well, Morris Pentel. It's not just the first tattoo is a mistake. If you're not a sailor or a member of the Yakuza, then you're making an error of judgment that will be more apparent as you get older. I think that one's aimed at me, Morris. No regrets from my point of view. No regrets. I'm still going to be tottering down to the tattooist when I'm 80 plus. Hey there. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Please do keep your comments coming. They can be about tattoos or whatever you want, but you are going to see something that I think you're going to be very, very, very interested in. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Kathryn to start. Here we go.
Thank you. You're in the driving seat, Martin. Thank you very much.
I am.
So thank you, firstly, for having me. This is the second time so far this year that you've had me on Get Out a Wrap. So thanks. That's amazing. And as Martin said, you know, what we're going to be talking about today, REN, Reset, Engage, Navigate. We are right at the start of this journey. We are experimenting. I think we've actually established this isn't even beta test. It is an experiment. And in a way, you are our little fluffy guinea pigs, if you don't mind, everybody.
I know Pete doesn't mind.
Now, just a bit more context, really. My background, 30 years for my sins of tech sales, everything around sort of customer experience, but especially within the context of contact center from CX and EX or agent experience. So I've spent many, many years on looking at prevention of burnout, that sort of thing, and sentiment detection analytics, which we're going to delve into a little bit more in detail in about 5 minutes' time. But really, in my view, that's not actually getting to the root cause or actually helping people in moment. If you have reached out to somebody because the system is telling you that somebody is burning out, for me, that feels like it's just too little too late. So hopefully REN, as you will see, solves that issue for an agent or a team leader to be that on-demand AI coach. Thanks, Martin. Now, I think you can skip past that. Everybody's going to have a copy of this slide deck. I'm going to take about 5 to 7 minutes just kind of framing it. We already know, because everybody lives and breathes this challenge that we have, but let's just look at some of the data points. And if you can make out that table on there, firstly, the green bar right on the right hand side, that actually is the proportion of people that are absent with across all roles within the organisation, not just contact centre. So that's 2%. It's 2%. So green is 2%. Then the different variants of blue are contact centre. And this is around sort of 6%. So we've got 2% across the business, 6% in the contact centre, which is quite astonishing. Absence rates are the highest it's been in the last 15 years. We're talking about absence here. It is costing a contact centre of about 500 seats, about 750k a year. And when you look at it through a transformation perspective, doing sales pitches saying, we'll automate your wrap-up times, we'll reduce your wrap-up handle time because of that, and you will make a saving of X. Well, if you're hemorrhaging money out the back door because people are sick, kind of wipes out and indicates that kind of argument. So you really need to look at it through that sort of bird's eye view. 83% of agents are saying that their mental health is being affected, 83%. And my heart really breaks for this. You know, my often talking about reference, my stepson, just about to leave university. He's hopefully going to go out into the big bad world and get a job. When I left university, I stepped into the world of contact centre, worked for British Gas. So did thousands of other ex-students in the UK. Those jobs have gone now. You know, there's tier 1 jobs. So now it's the hard work. And so you've got your 21-year-olds, you know, that have just left the comfort of university or mum and dad's bosom, and now they're working in the contact centres. No wonder it's 83%. And then, of course, we're not going to forget about the managers. 87%, 47% of managers feel that sickness and attrition is their biggest challenge. Thanks, Martin. So let's talk about how well-being affects overall performance. So with a well-being package, 60% of employees really feel that they're valued and that they are thriving at work, and then it drops down to 43%. The number one takeaway from this slide actually is it's not a one-size-fits-all, you know, solution here. How I'm looked after at work and what makes me feel good could be completely different to Martin or to Maria. I think we've all kind of realised now to treat people, whether they're customers or employees, as individuals. Let's stop putting them in categories. And it's costing the UK 14 million, you know, this sickness rate. Thanks, Martin. And it's getting harder. We've still got a lot of hybrid contact centres out there. We know that they are on back-to-back complex interactions. This is really impacting their cognitive and emotional load. They've still got all of the metrics pressure. They're still flipping between all of these different tabs that they've got. Limited recovery time. So, you know, where contact centres might have put in AI tools to speed up, like I said, wrap-up time, or summarization, or even while they're actually speaking to a customer, still doing a lot of the form filling. Actually, sometimes the output is so the agent can actually just get onto the next call quicker. So you're shoving them more calls, more hard calls. So they're not getting that kind of rest time. Hybrid working and long distance relationships don't really work. Maria, you've got a really strong viewpoint on this.
Well, I have, because I run a remote business. So what I realized very early on was that you are essentially in a long distance relationship with the people that are working with you and for you. And so in order for that relationship to work, you have to see it like that. And you have to, as a company, design ways around that, and and be very open with the person that's working for you that is what it is. And so over the years we've figured out ways to deal with that and make that work, and set up a framework that I think, you know, works for us pretty well now. But it was because we had to face that truth that in spite of what you'd love to believe, you're not in an office environment, you're not in a sort of live co-working environment, so you have to find ways around that. And I think a lot of companies don't see their relationship with their employees as a long distance relationship. They see it as a relationship, as if they were managing them, as if they were in an office. And I think that's where talking with other companies about, when I talk about my experiences, that's where a lot of their problems stem from, is trying to manage someone as if it's a synchronous live co-working relationship, or just company trying to assimilate an employee into their culture, which just doesn't work when they're in a different location or a different country even.
Thank you. So there was an article in yesterday's or this morning's CX Today, written by Rob Scott, around how sentiment detection has been banned by the EU Act. And this is a bit of a grey area, really. We know that it's the biometrics part of sentiment detection has been banned, not necessarily the transcription. But there is a bit of a grey area in terms of, well, does this bleed into GDPR rights around customers? We know that we in the UK aren't necessarily governed by the EU Act, but it's coming downstream, and there's a lot of caution and quite a few sort of amber lights that are going on. So, and we know that this is huge in Europe about what you can do and what you can't do. So again, we know that there are loads of analytics tools out there that are measuring in different ways burnout detection across all customer channels. So what we're saying is just take a different view of this. And so we're going to introduce to you REN. So just after lockdown, I sat my postgraduate in customer experience and emotional intelligence, delivered by the wonderful Sandra Thompson, on the back of Daniel Goleman's work. And then that led to me being asked to co-author a book called The AI Mindset, which I've got behind me. I co-authored it. My particular chapter was on how generative AI can help to develop greater levels of emotional intelligence within individuals in the workforce across all roles, leading to better employee engagement, productivity, resilience, collaboration, communication, all these great things. And of course, delivering higher levels of performance and greater business outcomes, including greater levels of customer service. And that kind of theme, I think, really led me speaking to Maria. We've been talking now for a good 6 months, if not longer, I think now. And how can we elevate levels of emotional intelligence? And emotional intelligence is a really broad church these days. It's quite a broad umbrella, in which underneath it is resilience. And this is a really key thing. It's a hot topic at the moment. And also develop and cultivate other capabilities in individuals, whatever that their role is. How can we actually enable these types of coaching and development in real time? And this is where the AI coach really came in. Maria, do you want to give us some background?
Yeah, so I think before we go into that, maybe let's try and summarize the conversation where we are today, and we'll use REN to do that. So let's get into the experiment, okay?
Let's do it.
So REN, the floor is yours.
The conversation kept returning to the human cost, absence rates, burnout, mental health statistics. But the thread nobody pulled was accountability. Who actually owns this problem? The data was clear. 6% absence in contact centres versus 2% across the rest of the business. 87% of managers flagging it as their biggest challenge. But the conversation stayed in the diagnostic lane, describing the problem rather than naming who has the authority and the obligation to fix it. That matters because data without ownership just becomes a more detailed picture of a problem that stays unsolved. So here's the question for the panel. If you had to put one person's name against fixing this, not a team, not a strategy, one person, who is it? And do they actually have the power to act?
Well, that told us, didn't it?
It
So I wanted to share with you just a snippet of what we've been working on with REN before we get into the sort of origin of it. because this is a total experiment, and I'll explain why. Kathryn and I, as Kathryn said, got together about 6 months ago and started to talk about this. And the reason we started to talk about it was because as part of the long distance kind of remote working outfit with my team, I had been experimenting with ways in which the team could get in the moment advice that was from me, but not from me. So we'd had this like informal thing in place for a while called Shouty Bank, which the team basically, if they had a frustrating call, or anyone in the team, whether they were a manager, team leader, agent, if they'd had a sort of real moment of frustration, and it could be with anyone, client, customer, call, whatever, you know, they could message me and make a withdrawal from Shouty Bank. And then I'd, you know, first opportunity I had, I'd get on the phone to them and just let them download, let them vent for a bit, and then try and give them a bit of advice or a bit of guidance, or just allow them to reset. So I then started sort of trying to think about how they could do that on their own, to give them the agency that they needed to do that. And so I then created the sort of like this baseline stack using some AI, using knowledge bases that we were building anyway for other projects, to start to do that. And so then Kathryn and I got talking, and Kathryn's work in emotional intelligence on the frontline really got me thinking about how this might be able to be used for other people. I've never been a massive fan of monitoring tools of the frontline. I can see the value in it, but for me, I'd rather give people their own agency to sort of unplug, reset, rethink, and plug back in again. And so this started to become born. So as you'll see from there, we've sort of developed a way to listen for quite a long time. So 10 minutes, believe it or not, in AI world is to retain memory is quite good. It's not too bad.
Definitely.
Do it for up to about half an hour now. And then help alongside meetings to sort of summarize, playback, give a bit of challenge back to whoever's in that meeting. And then the other thing that we are working on, which I can show you as well, is a sort of in the moment guidance. If I've got a situation, then I can then, you know, sort of call REN and, you know, just get a bit of guidance.
So this was born then out of Shouty Bank, which I love. And it was because I always think about this. I always think about if I'm, you know, I've been in a position where I'm managing people in different countries or different locations, but then when it moved, then post sort of post-pandemic, I naturally think about team leaders and how tough it is for them to be able to help hybrid and remote workers kind of in the moment. So Shouty Bank was something that prompted all of this, and I love it because, like you say, it's a real challenge. So were you trying to distill your knowledge and experience in something that is accessible to everyone?
Yes, exactly. I was trying to, we were building up, I mean, we've been consulting on projects, big projects, and also managing customer service for clients for a number of years now. So we have a lot of knowledge, had a lot of knowledge distilled. So about 2 years ago, when we started to work with AI, one of the first things we did was to start creating knowledge bases and knowledge packs that could be used to for an AI to sort of retrieve from, but that was that enriched the large language model. So you know, you couldn't get the knowledge on ChatGPT, for example. You'd have to sort of It's lived knowledge, lived experiences. And so we've done that with ourselves. We're also, I'm really interested in, and we're going through this process, starting this process with Kathryn of let's download her knowledge, because my knowledge and her knowledge would be a lot more powerful. And then is there someone else that's really, let's download your knowledge, Martin, you know, then all
That
of a
won't take
sudden
long.
someone has got access to all of our knowledge. And so we've sort of been able to figure out how to, you know, cut and dice the knowledge up in a way that, you know, that, and that's through failure, experimenting, getting it right, getting it wrong. So we can now cut the knowledge up into a way that is reasonably easy for a large language model or a workflow to retrieve. And it just enriches the conversation. And so, and this is what we're trying to do, is to provide the users, the frontline teams with in the moment quick conversations that will hopefully help them in situations. And then also where there's a group, potentially sort of have REN providing some of that feedback and challenge and stretch thinking that it might not the team might benefit from. You know, if they're a junior team, you know, we do it all the time. You know, I used to send my team leaders off all the time, go and solve this problem. Okay, you know, how do you do that? So to have, you know, a sort of a tool in the room that can help them, can help them do that. And then because we do have a team sitting behind us, we want to sort of provide support then to both the rental and also the people using the product, so that you know, if there is more support that's needed, or the tool needs improving, needs that high quality information diet, then we've got a team that can sort of provide that as well. So that's how we're trying to build this from the ground up. But we're at the start of that journey. We are at the start of that. So yeah, so I've shown you sort of the feedback bit. I can call REN again and have a little conversation with it, if that's
do it.
Right,
do it. Here we go.
Let's see if this works.
Hey, it's REN. How can I help?
Oh, hello. I have a problem. So my problem is that I have an agent in my team who didn't give a customer a refund, and I listened to the call, and the call is fine. She operated within policy, and I have a manager. The customer then went beyond the team to the manager, my manager, and my manager went and gave the refund. So I've now got an agent who's really unhappy with my manager, and my manager doesn't know what's going on underneath her. So can you help me with that?
I hear you. This is a classic trust and consistency challenge. Which conversation feels harder right now? The one with your agent or the one with your manager? Take your time.
The one that feels harder is probably the one with my manager.
Okay, let's start there. When a manager overrides an agent's decision without consultation, it sends a message that the agent's judgment doesn't count, even when they're right. That's not about this one refund. It's about the pattern. If agents stop believing their decisions matter, they'll either freeze or start giving in just to avoid conflict. That erodes both confidence and consistency.
Okay. Yes, I do agree. I mean, my manager hasn't done it very often. She's done it a few times, though.
So it's not a one-off. It's a pattern that's starting to wear on your agent. That's the real issue. The manager may not see it that way, but the signal she's sending is clear. Policy is flexible. When escalation is the fastest path to a yes, that's not sustainable. You need to address the mechanism, not the individual decision.
Okay, so how do I do that then?
You can say to your manager, when a refund gets approved after an agent has said no, it tells the agent their judgment doesn't count. Can we agree on a process for exceptions so everyone is aligned? Keep it factual, calm and focused on consistency, not blame. This isn't about the refund. It's about the signal.
Okay, that makes sense. So what do I say to my agent?
You could say to your agent, you made the right call based on the policy we have. The fact that it got overridden doesn't mean your judgment was wrong. It means I need to have a conversation about how exceptions get handled. I want you to keep making those decisions. That reinforces her confidence and keeps her in the adult state.
Okay, so tell my agent that she's doing well, keep doing what she's doing, and tell my manager that can we agree a process for exceptions because it's breaking.
You've got this. Your agent and your manager both want the same outcome, a consistent, fair process. It's okay to take the lead. Just keep it calm, clear, and focused on alignment. You've got this.
Okay. So
I have to say, I absolutely love that. I love it because it didn't take too long. I can imagine a team leader sort of having a situation just happen around them, and it's that navigation is always the thing. Like, how do I navigate around this? Recognizing that I'm in the middle. I have a lot of people above me, and I have my team below me, and I'm trying to manage that. I'm trying to manage what's right for the customer, and I'm trying to manage the processes of the contact center. To hear that interaction, which I think we can all relate to and imagine happening across the country right now, and to get that I found it very calming. It was very calming to listen to and go, okay, this is something that I can do. I thought that was amazing.
It gives that reassurance, doesn't it? I mean, even if the manager was maybe going to take that path, it gives them the reassurance. And I think, again, it's fundamentally, crucial when you're dealing with direct reports that you can't physically see, that they might be based out at home. It keeps you on track. And we also know that there is a huge proportion of contact center team leaders that have ended up in their job having been an agent, but they actually haven't been given emotional intelligence or the right leadership training, resilience training, dealing with conflict resolution, etc., etc., etc. So it gives them that kind of layer of support and assurance in real time.
What we have based this on so that it can cover quite a wide number of scenarios is 3, let's say, psychological models that we use within NEOS Wave, because we just started from what we know, right? So the first one is around transactional ego state. So this is where you enter a scenario and conflict. So it could be between a customer and agent, or an agent and their team leader. And in that situation, each party plays a role, right? So it might be a parent, adult, or child. So the goal, and what we try to sort of tell our team, is the goal before you can solve anything is to get to an adult state in the conversation. So recognize where you are, parent, child. So in that scenario that I just went through, you've got the manager acting as the parent. They're the one overriding without explanation, right? So then you've got me as the team leader and the agent acting as children. So what REN would try to do, I don't know if you sort of, is to get it to an adult state. So you take charge, you talk about the process, you don't get into a blame, and that moves it into an adult state, then moves that conversation and those roles into that state. And that's worked really well for us. So that's the sort of first model that he uses. Second one is that is around growth mindset. So seeing the opportunities rather than the limitations of something. And then the third one is the grow coaching model that adapted slightly for resilience. So adapted to include some form of like unplugging, resetting, and then replugging back in. And so then between that and sort of knowledge and case studies and experiences, even if they're micro experiences, that starts to build up then a way of being able to have these conversations about almost anything in the contact center. You know, this is not designed to be a generic coaching tool, let's say. It is designed to have good knowledge about how a contact center floor and how a customer service team works day to day, because it needs that to be able to understand, like you said, Martin, that situation happens, you know, it's happened since contact centers were born, right?
Yeah.
It's such a familiar situation. So this is how we're trying to build this up. And now what we want to do is gather more knowledge, and also test out, you know, test it out more, to break it. Essentially, we want to break it in pieces so that we can keep improving it.
The way you've just described Ren, then I think we're going to be really good friends. Grow is my favorite coaching.
And you don't mind it's my voice at the moment. I can make it your voice if you prefer, Martin.
Grow's my favorite coaching methodology. Growth mindset is something I will constantly keep talking to people about. Like having a growth mindset, you can look at any situation and think, what is this teaching me? What can I get from this? Even though at first, the first feeling, first glance, it could be bad. So I love it. But you mentioned there asking people for assistance and breaking it. Please don't break it fully.
Put it through its, you know, paces.
Yeah.
And you know, that first point, we're actually not there yet. Like I said right at the start, we're kind of tinkering around with it. If you'd like to tinker with it as well, you know, we are, you know, open arms, please. The door is wide open. We're asking for contact center people to come and genuinely have a go, have a play, see where this path takes us. We feel like we're onto something here. We hope that we are. I do think, as corny as it sounds, like together we'll make it far stronger, we'll make it far richer, and that in turn will help those individuals, again, agent, team leader. So yes, if a contact center out there or team leader, you know, or somebody that's strongly connected to an organization that's doing this work in customer service, you know, reach out to me and we can kind of take you on this journey and get you involved. But that's exactly what we want, really, at this point.
I know the people that regularly watch this show and engage. I would say as a group, we're curious, inquisitive, and positive about our industry. I don't think you can hear those two examples that you gave and not be piqued, your interest be piqued, and go, oh, I can imagine using this. This would be great. Mm-hmm. What about this situation? What about that situation? You know, I think there are so many, naturally, like I said earlier, I kind of orientate towards team leaders. You know, there's a few themes that keep cropping up, like how do you have difficult conversations? Yeah. Well, am I right in thinking with REN, with the right knowledge, I could role play that difficult conversation. I could talk to REN about, here's the situation. I've got to have a difficult conversation with someone about X. How am I approaching this? Because I'm feeling very nervous. Or I'm going to go into a meeting where I'm the most junior person, everyone's senior, and I'm worried that I won't fit in. You know, the scenarios and how it could help are endless.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of difficult conversations which are being put on hold and avoided at the moment because they don't want to face them. So they're put on hold for tomorrow. Tomorrow kind of never comes, and then perhaps, you know, it's too late by then because somebody's decided already to go on sick, for instance, or that, you know, that detriment has already been impacted.
Or, you know, I've told this story many times in the community. I've made loads of really awkward, horrible mistakes trying to deal with, you know, there's one in particular with someone in my team spoke to me and said the person they sat next to, their personal hygiene was awful. And even just, that made I was like, oh God, no, I really, really don't want to have that conversation. And I sort of I was nice, but I sort of fumbled around with it, came up with what I thought was a solution. It didn't work. Could you use REN for something like that?
Definitely. You could put REN into a role, and sometimes, I think all three of us have been in situations like that. And sometimes just practicing the words with something, practicing what you're going to say and getting confident in opening up that conversation is half the battle. It's starting the sentence, isn't it? It's hard. It's hard to be really direct with people sometimes. So yeah, you could definitely you could definitely do that. And don't forget, this is not an AI tool that would get deployed and then left. It's Kathryn and I see it as like a living project that has human support all the time sitting alongside it. So this is not something that it's not a technology play in that aspect.
No,
but yeah,
it's kind of for the people. Yeah. And just to kind of double click on that point, really, that there is a human support. So, for instance, somebody expressed something that was of severe concern, then that can be, pivoted through to a human. So there is human in the loop for certain scenarios. And I wonder at the moment how many people actually turn into ChatGPT, the free version of ChatGPT, to help them in certain conversations. Remember, REN's brain is based on experience and evidence, knowledge, etc. It's academic findings, etc., etc. It's not a different version of ChatGPT. It's absolutely not that could give you hallucinations and incorrect information.
So let's reiterate what the ask is, and let me. Jonathan had to go, but said, sorry to got to jump, loving this. And Tracy, thank you very much. This is excellent. I can see this adding real value at senior leader team level.
Great. Perfect. Well, again, for those people that want to join us, yes, join us.
And that is specifically, you want people to get in touch with you. It's going to go through you, Kathryn, am I right?
Yes.
And they can, how will that work? What's the plan?
If somebody reaches out to me, then we'd have a call together, find out a bit more about their organisation and use cases, and then let's just have a chat. Nothing more formal than that at the moment.
I love it. Maria, how much fun have you had putting all of this together?
Oh my God, so much fun. And I've actually driven my teenage daughter mad because I set up then a sort of nagging version to nag her about her GCSEs. So when she comes home and starts moaning about school or something like that, I just switch on my adapted version to try and give her advice that she doesn't want to listen to about how she should be approaching her research and her revision right now. So I've had loads of fun with it.
That's great. Does it occasionally remind her to tidy her room?
Oh, every day. Every conversation I've put in a fixed prompt, hard-coded.
Well, I think you're both doing amazing work. This is something that you can see is going to add so much value, and those stats right at the start just showed how critical this is, because of course those stats lead to profit the commercial impact, but that is, for me, it's always about that is people in situations that are not pleasant, they're not enjoying work, they are getting burnout, they can only see their only way is either to take time off or to leave. This is the use of great technology as a solution.
And you don't have to be an organization to get in touch with us. If you're an individual interested in trying to test this and understand it, then, you know, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. Maria, Kathryn, everyone else as well, please do. Obviously, this recording is going to be available. Let me just share Kathryn's email address again. And Kathryn, so that's Kathryn with a Y .Simmons -Porter at flourishbusinessconsulting.co.uk. I said that just for the people listening on audio. So.
Yeah, or catch me on LinkedIn. So Kathryn Porter on LinkedIn. Well,
Maria, Kathryn, thank you very much. Everyone watching, thank you for getting involved. And please do. This is REN is something that I think would be so cool to get involved in and see what develops. But I 100% applaud your innovation and care for our industry with using technology as a great solution to help people. I think it's amazing. So well done.
Thanks.
Okay. I will see you all within the next couple of thank you, Marianne. Have a fab rest of the week. Yes, to all of you too, have a lovely week. I was going to say when the next one is. It's going to be soon. I'm not exactly sure when it's coming. Maybe I need REN to. Can REN help me out just by organising my life? That would be nice. So get in touch with Kathryn and Maria. Kathryn Kathryn first on LinkedIn or the email address that I've just given. If you would like to be involved, because I think you can make something that's already awesome even more magical. But until next time, thank you all and bye-bye. Has he finished? Let's go.